It's been a while since I've done an African American fantasy video. And the reason why I haven't been able to do an African American fantasy video is because I've been busy on several projects. The first of which is my new novel, Spinsterella. I'm in the process of doing the third draft of this novel, which is a goth romantic comedy. This book will be coming out on Halloween, and it will be out in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. So look out for that one. But this is one of the reasons why I've been so busy and haven't been able to do an African American fantasy video. The second reason why I haven't been able to do an African American fantasy video is because I've been busy working on the sequel to this book, The Temptation of John Haynes. The Temptation of John Haynes was an African American fantasy novel I published back in 2011, and this one, people have been asking me for the sequel to this one since it came out in 2011, but I haven't had the right story for it just yet. And I got a little inspired, about a month ago, and I finally finished the sequel to it. So that's something I'm planning on getting out on 2016. Pondering doing a Kickstarter for the cover because I really want to get a great cover for the sequel to The Temptation of John Haynes. And if possible, if I could get enough money raised, I could probably do a refresh on this cover. But that's another reason why I haven't been able to do African American fantasy video until now. These two projects, have taken up most of my summer. I had hoped to get out, a third story, Isis Imitation of Life, but that one I'm still working on right now. That one's up to about the second act. But these are the two big projects I've been working on so far. And a third project I have been working on, it relates to comics. From a suggestion from a friend of mine, Mike Williams, who does the awesome Deke Sledge comic strip. You can just click the link in the description box to take a look at his work. He suggested I start writing a graphic novel based on probably from what he read above my work. And I decided, it would be good to get those skills as a writer. And since for the last about 2 or 3 weeks, I have been working on some comic scripts. The first of which is an adaptation of the first E-Steam story called E-Steam No Good Deed. Now, that script is now posted on my blog, www.shawnsjames.blogspot.com. So if you want to take a look at that script, you can go ahead. Um, as everybody knows, I've always wanted to write comics, and I've always wanted to publish a comic, and I feel that this is a step in that direction. Um, this is something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted again to publish comics. When I originally got into writing fantasy fiction, one of my goals was to take the ISIS character, and the ISIS character here, shown here in her most recent ISIS series book, Night of the Vampires. This character was originally supposed to be a comic book character, but unfortunately, because at the time, the comic book industry had collapsed, and it was almost impossible to publish, a comic without having at least $60,000 to $70,000. I was forced to take the character to the young adult book market, and because I was forced to take it to the young adult book market, the character wound up, becoming a young adult fantasy character instead of a comic book character. And I've always wanted to publish comics, and I'm taking baby steps in that direction. It's something that I've always again wanted to do, and I figure if I learn the skills, then eventually, maybe God will work things out, and I'll be able to get the funds together to hire an artist and an inker and a colorist, and produce that graphic novel that I've always wanted to do. That's one of my life goals, is to publish an ISIS series graphic novel or a series of ISIS series graphic novels. And after I did the East Team No Good Deed project, because it was one of the shortest stories I wrote, and I was kind of floored that 3 pages of story turned into 10 pages of you know comic panels. Um, I found myself saying, I'm gonna get ready to go try another script. And the next script that I'm writing is an adaptation of this book, Isis, My Sister, My Frenemy. this is one of the most fun books in the ISIS series. This is one I believe easily translates into comic panels, and it's something I'm doing. To get to work the rust off, and work with the learning curve, because writing comics is a bit of a learning curve. Writing comics is completely different than, say, writing a novel, or writing a novelette, or writing a screenplay. They're completely different models, because in a novel it's mostly prose, and in a screenplay it's action and dialogue. However, in a comic, you have to create panels, and the panels you have to use words and actions to create pictures, tell a story in a single picture, and you have to do this for a series of pictures, um, so that it tells a story, and each picture has to tell a lot of story in that little picture. So you have to be able to move the dialogue along, you have to be able to move the action along, and you have to do this with a single picture. And this is what makes writing a comic, you know, a bit of a challenge, for a writer. Um, I'm pretty good at telling stories with pictures. When it comes down to your ISIS series story, or a or novels like your Spinsterella, or your Temptation of John Haynes, or even a screenplay like All About Marilyn. So the big challenge is taking this from a moving picture in someone's imagination to a bit of a static picture, because in a comic you have a series of static pictures that have to be able to tell a story, and that's something that I'm starting to try to work with and trying to start to learn. And it's a bit of a learning curve, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. You guys can let me know by taking a look at that No Good Deed script. I'm going to put the link in the description box right under the Geek Sledge link. Um, but I am working on different projects right now, and another big project that I'm working on is a Milestone Media video. Um, as a lot of people also know, Milestone Media was a big influence on me as a writer, back when I was in college, and I pretty much um, bought every Milestone comic from 1993 to 1994. The only reason why I stopped buying them is because I graduated college and I had to start looking for a job, and I just didn't have the money. But I made it a point to buy these comics, because they were the first African American heroes that I saw, produced by other African Americans, and they had a major impact on me as a writer. They were one of the big influences on me, aspiring to be a comic book writer. And the hardwares, the icons, the statics, Blood Syndicate, those comics really, they were a major reason for me, pushing and going this far, and then going out to create ISIS later on, about 1999, because I saw those comics and I saw that it was actually possible for African American heroes, to go and take themselves to the next level, and for creators to take, a black character to the next level. And I really want to, create this video, and I really want to give it, make it the best quality it can be. I mean, I really want this one to be a lot better than some of the other videos I've done. I want to do some research on the history of Milestone Media. I also want to, dig the comics out of the closet, because I have, again, I have almost every Milestone comic from '93 to '94. Just about. I even have the zombies and the shadow cabinets from the second wave. But I want to have a I want this video to be, comprehensive and thorough, and that's why I'm taking my time. I don't want to rush this video out, because, again, Milestone Media's comics meant a lot to me, and I really want to put, the best face forward on it. So that's a video that I'm planning on doing, and I'm hoping to, get that one out by October. And in the meantime, again, I have other projects that I'm working on, and I really want to get another African American fantasy video out for Christmas. Um, but this is a subject that really means a lot. Again, it's one of my passions. It's one of the things that I pursue on a regular basis. And as a publisher of African American fantasy fiction, I really want to get the word out regarding African American fantasy fiction because I believe, this is going to be the next big genre of African American fiction. And the only thing that keeps it from growing is, a lack of word of mouth. And there are a lot of great writers like myself out here, in addition to all the writers out there who have a lot of great material. And that material, I believe, is going to be, again, the next big thing. Um, I'm hoping to get more um, videos again about this subject, but I've just been real busy working on these other projects, and as soon as they come out of the queue, I will be able to start doing those videos again, where I try to sell African American fantasy fiction to people all over the world, and I also hope to even start doing another series of videos where I even read from one of my own books. So look out for that as well. But in the meantime, um, there will be, you can pick up, you know, the latest book in the ISIS series, ISIS Night of the Vampires. You can pick this up in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. And you can pick up The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback. And this is also on Kindle Unlimited. ISIS, My Sister, My Frenemy is available in paperback. And it's 99 cents on Kindle. And the new novel, if you're a black African American, if you're into goth and goth subculture, Spinsterella, will be out on Halloween. And Halloween is the big day for goths, so that's one of the reasons why I'm releasing the book that day. And it will be, if you have Kindle, it'll be free on Halloween. And this will be the last book that I put up as free. I just want everybody to know that. But Spinsterella will be out. If you're into the goths and the goth subculture, you're going to enjoy this one. This is a bit of a romantic comedy. But I will be trying, in the meantime, after I do this, to put together this Milestone Media video. And again, I'm urging you to go and take a look at that one when it comes out. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.